Simon, I just sent you a set of slides just now. I want to play those first.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Black Health Trust. We appreciate your joining us this afternoon. We're going to talk about some fairly serious subjects. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our founder, Dr. Randall Maxey.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to start this program a little bit different than I do every week. I want to welcome everybody here. Simon, you put up those first set of slides. So, first of all, I want to give shout out to Simon Cooper, who's been with us since the beginning. And he has tirelessly worked to put our show on, to get us on social media, to put us on YouTube every week, to keep me out of trouble with copyrights. And my hat's off to him. He also happens to be my beloved nephew and the father of the young man I call the champ. Can you make that bigger, Simon? Okay. So everybody knows that I had eye surgery. So I'm going to ask my co-moderators to read. So can you read this first one, Dr. Walks?
I can, Dr. Maxey. Dr. Barbara Nabret Stevens, MD. Dr. Barbara Nabret Stevens is a board-certified pediatrician. She has devoted her career to improving the health and well-being of children and families through clinical care, education, and community outreach. She has participated in numerous Black Health Trust educational programs as a respected physician educator.
And I thank her for being with us all these years and contributing her stellar advice. Dr. Nabret, able to read the next thing?
Sure. Dr. Ivan C. Walks is a board certified. I don't think this
You
is.
can just skip that part because keep going. I'm not a family physician.
No, and they
I
need to know,
wish.
but he is
I'm a
a
psychiatrist.
board certified psychiatrist and public health leader. He has served in senior health leadership roles, including director of the District of Columbia Department of Health, focusing on health equity, preventive medicine, and healthcare access.
And I thank Dr. Ivan Walks for being here and always keeping me straight and honest as we go forward. Thank you very much, Dr. Walks. Dr. Nabret, read the next one if you would. Is Dr. Lawson on?
He is.
Is he unmuted?
Oh, I take that back. I don't know that he's back, that he's on.
I don't see Dr. Lawson.
I
Okay.
said that thinking about reading about him. Sorry.
Would you read the next?
I'll read Dr. Hines's. Dr. Jocelyn Hines, MD. Dr. Jocelyn Hines is a board-certified family physician committed to preventive care, chronic disease management, patient education, and community health. She has contributed to numerous public education programs, including Black Health Trust presentations.
And I thank Dr. Hines for always bringing academic excellence to the program
Mhm.
and researching everything we say. Dr. Nabret, read the next one if you would.
Dr. William B. Lawson is an internationally recognized psychiatrist, educator, and researcher. His work has advanced the understanding of mental illness, minority mental health, psychiatric education, and health disparities.
And we thank Dr. Lawson for bringing his academic excellence to the table all the time and his many important comments and advice and verbs.
We do. I want to read the last one.
Go ahead.
Randall W. Maxey, MD, PhD, big deal, super dude. Dr. Randall Maxey is an internist and nephrologist with more than 5 decades of practice. He has served as the 104th president and chairman of the Board of Trustees of the National Medical Association. He is the founder and longtime host of the Black Health Trust and has led national and international initiatives in kidney disease, cardiovascular health, health equity, and medical education. Woo, that guy.
I thank all of my co-moderators for helping with this show for the past 6 years. I think we've done several hundred shows. We started off doing 2 shows a week when we were 2 hours. Now we've cut it down, got better, and made it 1 hour. But I want to thank each and every one of you for being my partners in this endeavor. And I think we've done a credible service to our community, keep them educated. Thank you so much, each one. So the other thing, yesterday was a significant day. And every week I talk about, I've recently read a book called Before the Mayflower, written by Lerone Bennett in 1962. So this was before Martin Luther King got assassinated. But what it brought clear to me was what really our community has gone through since the time of enslavement in the United States of America. We've had oppression. And looking at the news and looking at Fox News, CNN, and all the other things, even though yesterday was supposed to be a day of celebration, I wanted it to be a day of honesty. And our current people in administration have tried to mask and cover up what our true history has been. And I think that you have to be honest, that we've had a country that has dealt in oppression, has been traitorous to indigenous people, traitorous to people who went under the Trail of Tears. For example, the Trail of Tears was when they took the land that the indigenous people had in Florida, Alabama, and made them walk north to a place where they're going to break their treaty. But many of those tribes were integrated with African American slaves. So when slaves ran away, they often ran away to the Indian Nation. It's called the Trail of Tears, and many hundreds of thousands of indigenous people as well as slaves died along the way. And I know our brothers, Jews, often talk about the 6 million people who died in the Holocaust, which is true, but I'm sure there are many more millions that died in the Middle Passage in the time of slavery. And after slavery, even during Reconstruction and after that, we know that there were lynchings that happened every single day. So I love America, but I want to keep America truthful and make it live up to what it said in its Bill of Rights, in its 13th and 14th Amendments, and we all have to work toward that. Thank you so much for my co-moderator. You're welcome to comment on my comments if you so please.
I will comment, Dr. Maxey. I think that this is a time when we look at documents like the U.S. Constitution, and we talk about some of the content there. And I think that it's important for us to do that. And I think it's important for us to recognize that this country has a history of forcing us and allowing us to do things in spite of. And I've been watching a show called The American Experiment. It's a 5-part series, docudrama series that's available on Netflix. It's called The American Experiment. And it goes into the framing of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution. I think it's a great program because it does cover how those people that wrote those documents kind of struggled a little bit about the enslaved folks who were here. But what I got out of that is the fact that when they finished those documents, We didn't have any rights and we weren't given any rights, but neither were women. And women continue to be discriminated against to some extent in this country. Women continue to have conversations about things like glass ceilings. And at the same time, women don't really talk a lot about how we weren't included in the Constitution. I would like us to acknowledge that we weren't included, that we were enslaved, that we were treated very badly, all of that. And at the same time, I want us to push forward. I want us to realize that when the old people said you got to work twice as hard and be twice as good, that's not fair. It's not right, but it's true and it's accurate and it's what we have to do. So while I'm not happy about how things went, while I think that, yeah, they should do something about the evilness and horribleness that they did, I'm also focused on we got to be twice as good and we got to work twice as hard because it's still not fair for us. It's still not fair for women. And we got to keep moving forward and pushing forward. I got grandkids. I don't want them to spend all their time thinking about how unfair everything is. I want them to acknowledge that. That's why they got to work twice as hard, and that's why they got to be twice as good.
Amen. Very good. Let's go to our first sign on topic today. And I'm going to ask my fellows to help me read. So, what everyone should know about lung cancer. Let's go to the next slide. So, what is lung cancer? It's a cancer that starts in the lungs. Early detection, as we said last week about colon cancer, often saves lives. And it can occur at any time, and in normal people, and in people who don't even smoke, it can occur. It can occur because you get exposed to smoke with other people smoking. It can be in your carpets, it can be in your drapes, etc. Or it doesn't have to be related to any of that. Let's go to the next slide, Dr. Neighbor-Stevens.
Risk factors: smoking, secondhand smoke, radon, family history, and occupational exposures.
Okay. Let's discuss this in a minute. We have just a very few slides, so we need to talk about each of these points. So we know that smoking is an irritant that can cause changes in your lungs because when you inhale, that smoke goes down into your alveoli. So we know smoking does that, but what about secondhand smoke? Smoke gets in your surroundings where you live, where you work, and that's why we don't like to be around people who smoke. And radon is actually radioactive material that's in our soil, in our plants, and just being in certain areas, radon can affect your lungs. And we need to have better measures to measure that amount of radioactive material. If you have a family history, sometimes it can be genetic based. It can be based upon being more liable to it, and that would be related to your family history. And occupational exposure, whether it's unclean water, where you breathe in fumes, if you're working in dry cleaners, etc., and some places where you're near a dump that has toxic exposure. So that's something that we should look at. Dr. Walsh, you take the next one.
Before we move on, Dr. Maxey, I think that, at least in my experience, an additional risk factor is really where you live. I remember growing up in Los Angeles County and running. We were talking earlier, Simon was talking about running track. I remember being outside and running, and a deep breath would hurt because of the smog. My lungs were being exposed to bad stuff. Just living where you live can sometimes be an issue. And a second issue, now that I live on the East Coast, radon is something I never even heard of when I was living out in California, but all the houses out here, many of the houses have radon detectors, and the radon is in the soil And so you have these pumps that pump the radon out of your house, and you got to check periodically to make sure that your radon pump system is working. So just being aware of what's happening in your environment and where you live is just important.
Good point, Doctor. Appreciate it. Dr. Lawson on yet?
You know, today's Dr. Lawson's big cookout, Dr. Maxey. Unless you want a bison burger, you better not go looking for Dr. Lawson.
Okay. Next slide then. So,
Oh, symptoms. Okay, I got you. Symptoms.
okay, go ahead.
Persistent cough. Ooh, coughing blood. Chest pain, shortness of breath, weight loss, and fatigue. All those.
Okay. So many
You know,
people
I
ignore.
wanted to say though, sometimes, not just sometimes, frequently, there are no symptoms.
Mm,
That's true. That's true. That means you need to be screened. But when you see these things that happen, you have this cough, you say, oh, that's nothing. You need to look at it. If it lasts more than several weeks, you need to get checked out. Definitely, if you're coughing up blood, something needs to be done about that. Chest pain, we all know that you are not going to let that keep happening, continue. You can't breathe, shortness of breath, unexplained weight loss if you're not on those Ozempic and just losing weight, and fatigue. I just can't walk up those steps, can't walk down the block. You need to be checked. Take the next slide if you would, Dr. Neighbor Steven.
Diagnosis: low dose computer tomography of the chest for eligible high-risk adults, a combination of CT PET scan or biopsy.
Let's go to the next slide.
Treatment: surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, targeted therapy, immunotherapy, and supportive care.
Okay. Any thoughts on any of these things?
I have a couple of thoughts, Dr. Maxey. I think that this is again another reason to know your primary practitioner and to make sure that you are understanding what these different treatment modalities or combination of treatment modalities. Are you having surgery? Are you having chemo and radiation? There's something about making sure that no one comes at you with a one size fits all approach. This can be something that definitely needs intervention if you are found to have lung cancer, and at the same time it needs to fit your situation, not just your cancer, but your situation.
Yeah, and let me comment too on what you're saying. That I do believe in trying to be natural, using good eating habits, using exercise, not eating processed food. But once you've been correctly diagnosed to have a cancer in your body, in my understanding, which I think is, I have to say, I think I'm fairly knowledgeable, you cannot get rid of cancer with an herb, with a healthy diet. Once it's there, it needs to be fixed. It takes radical treatment, whether it be surgery, radiation. I've lost one of my very best friends years ago because his son-in-law was a naturopath. And he told him that his prostate cancer could be cured with herbs. And I'm still very upset with him about doing that. He had class 4 prostate cancer in his case. it does take radical treatment. It takes a poison to kill a poison. I invite your comments on this, both your doctors. You cannot get rid of certain diagnoses by drinking vitamin water Kool-Aid.
So Dr. Maxey, one of our smart people, Dr. Gibson, had raised his hand. Maybe we could get a comment from Dr. Gibson since we have a little more time today.
Dr. Gibson? Can we unmute him?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Maxey. And I just have to say today, especially in light of the way some of us are celebrating, I will not digress, although I am tempted to, but I'll just say, look up Frederick Douglass and see what he had to say about the 4th of July. Having said that, I just want to say that no, good nutrition and exercise and those sorts of things will not correct or even properly treat cancer. I experienced that in my own family. What I will say, however, is that the nutrition and exercise and such is still very important as adjunct. You know, ADJUNCT. I think that's how they spell it. Additional support for patients because think of it, cancer patients tend to lose a lot of weight. So stands to reason that the calories need to be balanced if they're losing weight. The body functions need to be supported when they don't have an appetite. And maybe they don't even have the, what we talked about today earlier, the proper mental state, global mental state, because of what's happening to their bodies. So nutrition and exercise and good mental health support overall, I think, critical. Thank you.
I think you made a very good comment, but I want to be sure that I agree with everything you said as an adjunct.
As
But
adjunct, yes.
many people get tricked into saying they can do these healthy things as a cure. I
Nope.
think those healthy things that you can do as an adjunct, very important what you said. Let's go to the next slide. Dr. Neighbor-Stevens?
Prevention. Quit smoking or don't start in the first place. Avoid smoke. Radon testing. And screen if eligible.
Okay. I've never heard of radon sensor either.
Oh no, it's radon. Radon management is really big on the East Coast. A lot of the homes are built on land that is releasing radon.
It's
So-
an area as well, and I'm fascinated that your area takes it quite seriously and has instituted measures to try to control and identify and control. I'm not aware of any such public health initiatives in this area.
Well, you can't sell your home in this part of the East Coast unless your radon system is working.
Really?
And they actually come in and test. They do a radon screening test in your home, and that's one of the things that's required if you want to sell your home. Make sure that your radon stuff is working. So,
They require that in apartment buildings and condos?
well, definitely in condos and in homes. I'm guessing they do something for the apartment building, but I think if your property or your home touches the ground or is on the ground, and there are a lot of basements on the East Coast, and that's typically where you'll find the radon um, pump and everything that goes up and pumps out through the ceiling, through the roof rather.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Okay, we have any
It's
comments,
important.
questions?
I have a couple of comments, Dr. Maxey, as we and some of it has to do with the excellent comments from Dr. Gibson. We talk a lot on Black Health Trust about prevention and about maintaining good health and about doing the best you can to make sure your body is ready to fight off whatever is coming at it. And we don't live in pristine environments. And there's a lot of stuff floating around that can get inside of us and try to take us out. So I do think that before we worry too much about screening for everything and all that, just try to be as healthy as you can. Try to eat healthy, try to exercise, try to get plenty of rest. Try to protect your mental health from all of the offenses that are out there that people are throwing at us every day. And I think that that's sort of where we start. And then we look at all the other things that we can do to prevent things from actually getting a hold and making us sick.
Thank you very much.
If I may.
Let's unmute Dr. Gibson again. I want him to comment further on Frederick Douglass.
Yes. Frederick Douglass, 92 years ago, had his say when they, as the kids would say, asked him to speak on Independence Day. And he said, what has your celebration to do with me? And when you take a good short, not even a long look, a quick look at Frederick Douglass, he was not very far removed from slavery, that institution that unfortunately 1/5 of the population of the United States were subjected to on the first Independence Day. So I bring up the speech. He actually did a speech. He was invited to do a speech about Independence Day, and it was rather than celebratory, it was rather instructive, and that's why I made the reference to Frederick Douglass. He was an avid abolitionist and giant in our history, Black history. So I was compelled, as I happen to be every Independence Day, which sometimes leaves me, well, most times leaves me a bit conflicted, because 1/5 of the population of the United States of America was enslaved in 1776. So
you remember the comment he made about what power concedes? No, I'm paraphrasing, but you remember that comment?
I don't remember verbatim, and I refuse to not do it justice. If you give me a second, though, I'll put it in the chat, just like I did a link.
Power concedes what power demands, something like that.
But there is a link in the chat, by the way, on West Coast radon testing. Just a little bit of interesting trivia. But I will have to check on that, and I'll drop something in the chat shortly.
That particular speech Frederick Douglass gave, to which Dr. Gibson is referring, was actually performed by James Earl Jones.
Yes.
And you can find it And I wasn't able to hear Frederick Douglass give it, but James Earl Jones, I think, did it good justice
Yes, he
with his
did.
presentation.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Dr.
Good,
Sherrod has her hand up and wants to make a comment.
good on you, Dr. Walks.
Oh, good afternoon. I just came in late,
Good
but
afternoon.
somebody had actually sent me the speech by Douglas that Dr. Gibson is referring to, but it's so small I can't really read it, but it's called What to the American Slave is Your 4th of July.
Mhm.
That's the name of the speech. And, you know, it's such small print and I don't have really good eyesight, so I couldn't read it to you, but you can look it up as Dr. Walks was saying. You can Google it. It's called What to the American Slave is Your 4th of July.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, I thank everybody for joining us today. Let's go for final comments if we can. Dr. Walks. Let's start with Dr. Gibson and Dr. Sherrod. We'll go around the table. Dr. Sherrod, final comments on our show today?
Well, actually, I found a little excerpt from the speech. It says, Answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim.
Mm.
Good boy.
So those are my final comments.
Thank you.
Amen.
Dr. Gibson?
As promised, I did put in the chat, in addition to the West Coast Radon link, I put a link also to James Earl Jones's YouTube version. Excellent, excellent recommendation, gentlemen. So that we could all at least copy that one, paste it in your browser, and take a look at it after the session, perhaps.
Dr. Walks?
My comment today on this 4th of July weekend is that we, all of us, not just people of color, but all of us have to think independently and think proactively about the state of our country. And I say our country because I served in the US military. I put on the uniform. I am an honorably discharged veteran. And I think that I can say this is our country. And I think that right now we have a very challenging time for a lot of folks. And we just have to be willing to take it back to where Dr. Maxey and I go every Sunday morning. We got to be willing to walk through the valley. There's nothing about being a responsible citizen that says everything is going to be fine and it's all going to be fair. I think we have to be willing to take that verse, yea, though I walk through the valley, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. There's a lot of evil stuff in the world right now. There's a lot of evil stuff in many of our neighborhoods. And I think it's important for us to sometimes step out on faith. And most importantly, remember that particular verse don't say nothing about sitting in the valley and complaining. It says walking through the valley. We have got to keep moving. We have got to keep achieving. And we have got to keep on working twice as hard and being twice as good until circumstances change.
Amen. Dr. Neighbor Stevens?
You know, I don't have anything that I can add to what Dr. Walks just said. He expressed my feelings very eloquently, and I frequently say to everyone that we all have, there's enough work to be done that all of us can find something to do.
Amen.
I just plead, there is so much to do. Please roll up your sleeves and pitch in whatever way you can. A big sandwich is eaten with one bite at a time.
Excellent. Well, my final comment, I am going to speak about my adventure at church today. And it was about your duties if you happen to be a Christian or a person of that particular faith that every challenge, every item that you need answered is found by studying the Word.
Mm.
And if you study the Word, you can find an opinion of what God directs you to do about every situation you have. And even though you're in the valley of the shadow of death, you should fear no evil. But those of us who do believe in that faith, it is incumbent to study the Word. And every time you read one word on Monday, it may be a different thing that you get out of it on Tuesday, maybe a different inspiration you get on Wednesday. So our job is to study the Word. And it's that Word that has got us as far as we have been. And God did not say you wouldn't be in the shadow of death, but you have to fear no evil. But know the Bible, know that. Everybody have a great day. Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you very much, Dr. Neighbor Stevens, Dr. Walks, Dr. Hines, and Dr. Lawson. Have a great day, everybody.
Good day,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, Simon.